Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Big Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Wednesday, February 5th, 2025. Now if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most, including my top play in college basketball, that's my Big Shot Best Bet, you can find those at the Premium Picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Wednesday in college hoops. First up, we'll talk about the Patriot League matchup between Holy Cross and Army. This one is 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Now, Army won the first matchup of the season series, 76-71. So Holy Cross is going into this matchup playing with revenge, but I don't love the situation or matchup for Holy Cross. And when you look at Army in their win over the Crusaders in the first meeting, they were without their top player and leading scorer in Jalen Rucker. Now, since then, he's been able to return to the lineup, so he should be available for this one. And that's about 17 points per game and about 3 and 4 rebounds and assists per game that you're getting back into the lineup for the second meeting. And you look at that first game for Army over Holy Cross, they had more offensive rebounds, they forced more turnovers, obviously had a much better shooting day as well. And I think that they, it was a sustainable victory for the Black Knights in that one. For me, there's no reason not to take them in this spot. It's a little bit of a steeper price, laying right now 6.5 points. But I think Army wins this one and covers a number. Could be a double-digit win for Army. Next up, we have Duquesne and Richmond. This one is 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. Now, Duquesne is right now in the midst of its second long losing streak. At the very beginning of the season, they were 0-6 to start the year, both straight up and against the spread. And they actually played quite well down the stretch in non-conference play into the start of A10 play, where Duquesne was 4-1 to start the conference schedule. But since that last win on January 18th over St. Bonnie's, they've now lost 4 straight games, and they're really struggling offensively. We knew this was not a great offense to begin with. They're not a great shooting team. They turn the ball over quite a bit. They don't get to the free throw line much. And they're a bottom 5 free throw shooting team in the country, 62.6% as a team. That's not going to get it done on the road against the 4th best free throw shooting team in the country. Richmond may be having a very disappointing season and their worst season in a while, but still a team that takes care of the basketball, very strong on the defensive glass, and like I said, a very good free throw shooting team. They're going to be able to take care of their looks at the charity stripe, and that's really important in a matchup like this because Duquesne defensively pretty aggressive. They force a lot of turnovers. They take a lot of fouls as kind of a side effect. So I think Richmond, while they're not a great half-court offense, they should be able to score some points in this game if they're going to be able to draw contact, which they've been able to do pretty much overall this season. Like I said, they take care of the ball, so I'm not really too worried about the turnover battle. And as long as Richmond doesn't get crushed on the perimeter in terms of giving up a ton of three-point jumpers, which they've had some issues with here and there this season, I think Richmond's going to be able to snap their losing streak, which right now is at 7 games. And I like the Spiders in this one. Duquesne is just not playing great ball. I know it's the same thing for Richmond, but I think their matchup is a lot more beneficial. Next up, we have SMU and Virginia Tech. This one is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on the ACC network. Now, SMU's put together a very solid campaign. You look at the record on paper, 17-5 overall, 8-3 in conference play. My concern with SMU, and it's kind of the same thing goes for a few ACC teams this year, is the strength of schedule. And when you look at the ACC as a whole this year, it's just not the strongest. We've seen much better teams come out of the ACC. I mean, obviously Duke at the top, but you look at some of the other teams. I think North Carolina's competitive, Louisville, but outside of those teams, I mean, at the beginning of the year, I thought maybe Pittsburgh. We've seen them fall off recently. Wake Forest, maybe Clemson, but no real dominant teams like we see in the SEC or the Big 12 this year in the ACC. Other than those couple, those few exceptions. And when you look at SMU and you look at their schedule and their wins, I mean, not too many big, impressive victories for the Mustangs. You could argue their most impressive win was the true road win at NC State, which doesn't really say much. It was a 6-point victory, 63-57. Or maybe the neutral site win over LSU, who's also not having a great season. That was a 10-point win. But no top 50, no top 60 KenPom wins for SMU this year, and that's where I have an issue with laying points with a team like that on the road. I know the Hokies have not been great for Virginia Tech, but they're playing their best ball of the year. They're coming off back-to-back true road wins over Florida State and their rivals of Virginia. And Virginia Tech, while they have some issues fundamentally, They're a good rebounding team. They're a good three-point shooting team. They're in good form, and they're playing at home, getting a good amount of points. I'm going to go with the Hokies in this one, plus the points and on the money line. Next up, it's Belmont and Bradley, the rematch between these two. We saw them play on January 21st. Now, this game is going to be 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. And I watched that first matchup between these two, and really, it was a competitive game where both teams created pretty good looks. I thought defensively, both teams weren't the sharpest, but the difference was Bradley made more tough shots. They were better from three-point range by about 10%, better from two-point range by about 5-6%, and also superior at the free throw line by another 13%. Those margins are going to be good enough for a win and a cover in that situation. But when you look at Belmont, I still thought, like I said, I thought they created good looks offensively. They had more offensive rebounds. They limited more turnovers. They forced more turnovers, 12-9. So I think if Belmont plays like that in this game and their numbers regress to where we see their season averages, where they're 37% from 3 and 54% from 2, I think Belmont's going to be able to compete. But now we're getting a lot of points in this matchup because it's at Bradley, and Bradley has the better record. They have the first win of the season series. I think they're a little bit overvalued. I've mentioned that a few times with Bradley this year. I'm going to go with Belmont plus the points and money line in this one. Next up, it's George Mason and George Washington. This one is 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. I like this matchup for George Washington. I think they match up well in this game, but I also like the situation. I mean, you got George Mason on a big win streak on the road now, and you got George Washington at home playing with revenge. I think George Mason's a little bit overvalued, and I like the fact that George Washington's playing with revenge. I'm going to take them in this spot. I mean, when you look at the season overall this season for George Mason, top 20 adjusted defensive efficiency, it's a great defense, but when you look at the shot quality numbers, maybe not as strong as top 20 may suggest. I think that defense regresses a little bit as we get near the end of regular season play into conference tournament play. And I also don't love the fact that George Mason's offense turns the ball over about 20% of their possessions. When you're playing on the road and you struggle in that department, it can be tough to trust you. George Washington's got a pretty aggressive defense. They can force those turnovers and make the Patriots really pay in this game. So I think this is going to be a very competitive game. I mean, the first one was a double overtime win for George Mason. I wouldn't be shocked to see overtime in this one either, but I think George Washington gets its revenge, a win, and a cover. And that's it. Those are the games for Wednesday in college hoops. Hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you're looking for my best bets, including that top play in college basketball, my bank shot best bet, you can find those at Pick Dawgz Premium. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.